Welcome to the Quantum AI Coach podcast. I'm Gina, founder of Virtual World Coaching Academy.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We're unpacking a really just a fascinating source document today titled The Havening Method, Somatic Scaffolding for Nervous System Integration.
Yeah, and the mission for today is pretty clear. We're getting into the hidden physical roadblocks that keep people stuck. Like, even when they logically know exactly what to do.
Right, because we've all been there. I
Yeah.
mean, imagine you're finally about to do the thing you know you need to do, right? You're going to set a hard boundary with a toxic client.
Oh, yeah, the classic boundary setting.
Exactly. You have the script perfectly memorized. You've visualized the outcome. And then the moment you open your mouth, your stomach drops.
Yeah.
Your head spins like a ping pong ball. Your voice shakes. And that flawless, logical plan just completely evaporates.
It's so frustrating, and we constantly see this in high-performance environments. The cognitive brain maps out a brilliant strategy, but the physical body just slams on the brakes.
So today is all about why your nervous system actively fights your personal growth and how to finally get it on your side.
Right. And understand the mechanics of this. The source text gives us this really relatable composite coaching scenario. It's the perfect before picture.
Oh, I love this part. Walk us through what happens.
So picture a client who is working through issues around money and self-worth. When the coach asks her how making things about herself is actually a problem, she doesn't respond with logic.
She reacts physically, right?
Exactly. She physically reacts. She describes her head feeling like a ping pong ball. She reports getting noticeably jittery and even dizzy.
Wow, just from being asked to focus on herself.
Yeah, and she immediately links that concept of prioritizing herself to early severe trauma, like violence, volatility, being hurt.
So her system is just sounding a massive alarm. She is visibly and verbally signaling that just the thought of taking up space is causing physical activation.
Right, it's a huge red flag.
But what usually happens next in these standard coaching or developmental settings?
Well, the session pushes forward into action step planning. The unconscious mind gets briefly acknowledged.
Like a sympathetic nod to the past.
Exactly, a quick nod, but then the gears shift right back into cognitive problem solving. They start mapping out a budget for a massage or, planning job applications.
Completely bypassing the glaring physical signs of activation.
Totally bypassing them.
I mean, I have to admit, when I first look at that, it seems like a normal, productive pivot. You don't want to wallow in the trauma, so you move to action.
Right, that's the standard industry logic, but if we look at it structurally, they are barreling right past the dizziness.
Which is a problem.
A huge problem. It's like trying to install a massive high-power software update on a laptop that's actively in battery saver mode.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, the system is intentionally throttling power to keep its machine alive because it thinks it's in a critical state. You can't just force the update.
So, setting the lens here, what is actually nervously happening in plain working model language?
Well, and to be clear, I'm naming this in working model language, not hard neuroscience fact. This is just the pattern I look for in a system.
Right. Not established medical science, just a framework.
Exactly. The client hits a core block. Her hardware, which is the nervous system, is signaling a threat state through that jitteriness and dizziness.
But the cognitive work just ignores the hardware and tries to force the software update anyway.
Yep. And you have to ask, why does pushing through those physical cues actually reinforce the block?
Yeah, if she forces herself to budget for that massage while her body is spinning, what's the consequence of that?
She reinforces the internal belief that her body's warning signals don't matter, which, just increases the underlying panic.
Oh, wow. So you're actually making the anxiety worse by ignoring it.
Exactly. So to see the alternative, we have to replay that exact same moment, but handle it through a havening-informed lens.
Okay, the after scenario. Let's hear it.
The same prompt is given, the client gets that same ping pong ball feeling, but this time, the intervention stops the cognitive work entirely.
The pause. I love this.
Yeah, the coach notices the shift in the client's voice and the jitteriness, and instead of pivoting to a budget, they say, "We just touched something old. Let's help your body catch up."
That is such a profound shift in approach. So what do they actually do?
They introduce a specific somatic intervention. The client is asked to cross her arms and gently stroke downward from her shoulders to her elbows.
Just slowly, repeatedly, right?
Yeah, exactly. And while she maintains that repetitive motion, she's asked to picture a calm place, like a beach or a garden.
And they just sit there and do this?
They sit there for a minute or two, allowing the self-touch to do its work until the dizziness literally just visibly leaves.
Wait, I have to pause you there. Just stroking your arms stunts a trauma response.
I know how it sounds.
Because to a lot of people listening, that might sound almost too simple or perhaps even a bit mystical compared to complex cognitive restructuring.
It sounds incredibly simple, but there is a structural logic to it, and we need to explicitly name Gina Pickersgill here. She is a certified havening techniques practitioner.
Okay, so this is her framework.
Right. The framework we are exploring is Pickersgill's working model. It's the unique lens she brings to coaching, not a claimed medical cure.
Got it. So in her model, what is that arm stroking actually doing?
In her model, that specific downward stroking motion isn't just self-soothing. It is theorized to generate delta waves in the brain.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It acts as a localized, physical, safe signal to the amygdala. You are physically disrupting the threat pattern.
So you're telling the hardware it's safe to power back up.
Exactly. And only after the client's system has settled down does she introduce a new belief, something like, it's safe for me to want things for myself.
And because her hardware has cooled down, that belief actually lands. The source text says the client reports it feels lighter.
Right, because the body isn't fighting the mind anymore.
But this highlights a really stark contrast. If the somatic approach is so effective, is the original coach in that before scenario doing something fundamentally wrong by focusing on the budget?
See, it is not about coaches doing something wrong. It is really about a critical missing piece in standard developmental training.
A missing piece.
Yeah. Most professionals are highly trained to hack the mindset, optimize the strategy, build the action plan. They're great at that.
But they miss the body.
They simply lack the nervous system awareness to recognize when a cognitive block is actually a somatic survival response.
That reframes the entire industry, honestly. It's not a failure of the coach's technique, it's just a failure to recognize the hardware limitations.
Exactly. Which brings us to the diagnostic side of this model.
Right, let's get into the structure. Why did this specific client get dizzy when asked to make things about herself?
Well, Pickersgill's model uses this brilliant analogy of an electrical grid to explain a concept called missequencing.
Missequencing, I like that word.
Yeah. The client is attempting to run high-voltage software.
Like claiming sovereign authority, manifesting wealth, taking up unapologetic space.
Right, all that high-voltage stuff. But her underlying somatic baseline, her electrical grid, basically trips the circuit breaker whenever she attempts it.
The hardware just can't handle the voltage.
Yeah.
So if we break down those baselines, what does that grid actually look like?
The model outlines different stages of nervous system capacity. This particular client is stuck in what is termed stage 2.
And stage 2 is called autonomy without punishment, right?
Exactly. In this stage, your baseline operating system is hyper-focused on the boundary between self-authorship and relational exile.
Wait, unpack that for me. Relational exile.
Yeah, it means your internal radar is constantly scanning the room, asking, if I am truly me, will you leave me? Will I be punished for existing?
Oh, I can see how exhausting that would be. You're technically autonomous, but every single action is weighed against the potential backlash from your environment.
It's exhausting, but she is trying to run the software of a much higher stage.
Right, stage 4.
Yes, stage 4, which is desire without guilt.
Desire without guilt. That sounds like the dream.
It is. Stage 4 is where you can want things just because you want them without needing a utilitarian excuse or like a trauma-justified reason to have it.
So she wants the unearned ease and visibility of those higher stages, but her stage 2 grid just immediately shorts out.
Exactly. It trips the breaker.
So what are the specific structural blocks keeping her grid trapped in stage 2? Let's diagnose the system here.
There are 2 core blocks keeping the grid overloaded. The first is defined as karmic guilt.
Karmic guilt.
Yeah, the body holds what the framework calls an invisible ledger.
You know, I have to admit, when I first encounter a term like invisible ledger, my instinct is to push back a little. It sounds a bit esoteric.
I completely get that.
But if we ground it in the psychology of early conditioning, it makes perfect sense. If you were raised in a volatile environment where your safety depended entirely on managing everyone else's comfort,
Yes, exactly.
then taking up space isn't just selfish. To your nervous system, it's a dangerous liability.
That is exactly the structural reality of it. For this client, stepping out of a hypervigilant caretaker role to claim money or ease feels like a literal betrayal of the survival code that kept her alive.
Wow, so the moment she tries to step out of that role, the ledger demands payment?
Right. The threat response is immediate because her deeply ingrained somatic belief is that her right to occupy space must be earned.
Earned through the exhausting management of others. That explains so much of the friction people feel. So what is the second block?
The second block is safety and desire.
Okay, what does that mean?
Because of her historical conditioning, her body registers personal desire as an existential threat. Wanting things, whether it's a massage, a thriving business, or a healthy relationship.
It triggers an alarm.
It triggers a deeply wired reflex to disown or minimize that desire to stay safe. Her nervous system equates prioritizing her own desires with the danger of being visible.
And therefore vulnerable to the very trauma she originally survived.
Exactly.
I want to bring this directly to you, the listener. Think about your own patterns for a second. How often do you try to force a mindset shift or, push an aggressive action plan when your body is secretly holding an invisible ledger?
A ledger that literally dictates wanting more is a punishable offense.
Right. How many times have you judged yourself as lazy or undisciplined when, in reality, your circuit breaker is just tripping to protect you from what it perceives as a massive threat?
It's huge. It completely shifts the paradigm from self-blame to structural curiosity. Her nervous system is intelligently protecting her from embodying power until it knows she won't be exiled for it.
It is an act of biological self-defense.
It really is.
Yeah.
And to overcome it, you cannot just argue with the cognitive brain. You have to change the unlocked conditions.
You have to build somatic scaffolding.
Yeah.
You basically have to physically prove to the body that the environment has actually changed.
Yes.
So how does she actually do that? How do we build this capacity without her just snapping back into overgiving the moment the session ends?
Well, the working model outlines 3 highly specific somatic homework assignments. And these are not sweeping, dramatic life overhauls.
Okay, good.
They are microactions, designed specifically to build voltage capacity in the nervous system. The first one is called the undeflected receipt.
The undeflected receipt. Receiving without paying a tax.
Exactly. It involves practicing the reception of something small and non-essential. It could be a compliment, a cup of tea someone makes for you, or a small financial grace.
And the assignment isn't just to say thank you.
No, the assignment is to stay physically present in the body with the intense impulse to deflect, apologize, or overcompensate.
Oh, man. That is agonizing for chronic overgivers.
Oh, it really is.
Like someone says, your presentation was brilliant, and your immediate bodily reflex is to diminish it. You say, oh, it was a team effort. I actually messed up the 3rd slide.
Yeah, the urge to deflect is almost involuntary.
So the scaffolding here is just feeling that urge spike in your chest, breathing through it, and letting the nervous system register the experience of taking it in without immediately owing a debt.
You are physically updating the ledger. It's powerful.
Incredible. And the second assignment builds on this.
Yeah. The second is the microboundary of non-intervention. This requires choosing one specific area where she habitually steps in to fix, cushion, or manage life for someone else.
So like letting the silence hang on a tense Zoom call instead of jumping in to rescue the conversation.
Yes. Or watching a colleague struggle with a minor task and refusing to take it off their plate.
Or letting a capable child deal with the natural consequences of forgetting their homework instead of, rushing to the school to deliver it.
Exactly. The assignment is to deliberately hold the physical line of non-action. Notice the internal panic, the guilt, the physiological urge to intervene, and just stay present in the body until that wave passes.
You are proving to your nervous system, through physical experience, that you do not have to constantly manage the world to remain safe.
You are dismantling the belief that your safety depends on their comfort.
That is so profound. What is the final piece of the scaffolding?
The third is embodied financial allocation for self.
Okay, so this targets the money and self-worth block directly.
Yes, it requires following through on a commitment to build a non-negotiable line item for personal restoration into her baseline spending plan.
Like actually buying the massage.
Buying the massage. But the crucial element is experiencing the physiological sensation of spending money on herself solely for ease.
Without needing to earn it through burnout or overwork first.
Precisely. You are untangling the struggle from the reward. It's forcing the grid to process stage 4 software, desire without guilt, in a highly controlled, low-stakes environment.
But as with any powerful intervention, there are things that can disastrously backfire, right? The model has clear warnings about what to strictly avoid.
Yes, the contraindications. If you pull the wrong levers here, you reinforce the exact block you are trying to dismantle. First, You must strictly avoid aggressive deserve affirmations.
Oh, really? So the classic self-help trope of standing in the mirror and shouting, "I deserve unlimited wealth and success," is off the table.
It will completely backfire.
Why is that?
Trying to force a cognitive mindset shift around what she deserves will only spike her scarcity and guilt loops. Her somatic baseline does not believe it yet.
Oh, so it feels like a lie to the body.
Exactly. Forcing the mental concept before the body is ready will trigger a defensive freeze state. The nervous system will clamp down harder to protect her from the perceived arrogance of that statement.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And what is the second danger zone?
Rushing the massive project, pushing her to launch a major business, finish a 400-page memoir, or, take center stage before her nervous system has untangled the fear of visibility.
Because if you force the big leap too early, she will default back into the addiction to struggle.
Exactly. She will unconsciously manufacture chaos to feel safe.
Like she'll self-sabotage the launch, or endlessly revise the manuscript, or pick a massive fight with her partner right before the big opportunity.
Yes, because on her current electrical grid, visibility still equals danger. I always like to say, it's akin to trying to force a frozen gear to turn by just standing on the pedal with all your weight.
You aren't going to move the machine.
No, you are going to snap the axle. You have to thaw the ice first.
Thawing the ice. That completely encapsulates the shift in perspective we've explored today. We started by looking at the default reaction, right? Ignoring the jittery, dizzy somatic cues.
Ignoring the fact that the gear is frozen and just pushing harder on the pedal with action plans and budgets.
Which merely grinds the gears and reinforces those survival loops.
Exactly.
But then we looked at the working model of the alternative, the Haveny-informed pause. Taking that crucial moment to notice the physical activation, utilizing localized somatic signals to settle the amygdala.
And literally thawing the ice so the nervous system can catch up to the cognitive brain.
And finally, prescribing somatic scaffolding. The undeflected receipt, the micro-boundary of non-intervention.
Slowly building the grid's capacity rather than relying on aggressive, forced mindset shifts that just trip the circuit breaker.
So for you listening right now, if you recognize that ping-pong feeling in your own head, or if you see these exact patterns of missequencing in the teams you lead or the clients you coach, there is a very specific next step you can take. We highly recommend you take the Burden to Boundary AI Coach Assessment. We have linked it for you in the notes, and it is designed specifically to help you see where your own coaching, leadership style, or self-management might be missing this exact nervous system layer. It's so eye-opening. If you've ever felt that profound disconnect between your logical, strategic brain and your physical, reactive body, we want to hear your story.
We really do.
Please like this deep dive, subscribe for more breakdowns, and drop a comment below. Share your experiences with us. Have you ever noticed your voice shifting or your stomach dropping when you try to set a basic boundary?
And how did you handle that physical cue?
Yes. Your insights always add so much value to this community.
Because once you understand the mechanics of somatic scaffolding, you start seeing these tripped circuit breakers everywhere. It is a completely universal human experience.
It changes how you view every single interaction. So as we close out today's exploration, I want to leave you with one final lingering question to turn over in your mind.
Let's hear it.
We often treat our lack of progress like a character flaw, right?
Oh.
Or a logic puzzle we just haven't solved yet. But based on everything we've unpacked today about the invisible ledger and the profound intelligence of our biology, what if the procrastination, the codependency, or the stubborn resistance you've been aggressively trying to mindset hack away isn't a failure of your discipline at all?
Mm-hmm.
What if it's just your nervous system intelligently protecting you from a danger you haven't yet proven is gone?
So when Gina offered me the opportunity to do this, I jumped for it because I think anything that you can do that is going to chip away at these limiting the beliefs of things that hold you back is really, really worth doing. So it's been a really lovely experience, and if anybody's a bit worried about it, just do it, because the opportunity to connect through havening is really, really powerful. It's really, really powerful.
But really helpful, I think, in terms of having that kind of guided process just to kind of let the ideas and the feelings and the images flow, and then try and work out what it actually means afterwards, and to come up with, and it made intuitive sense. It's really, really helpful to then kind of have that debrief of, okay, what can we actually do with this stuff? Because that's where we tend to get stuck, is kind of like coming out of it going, oh, this is all some really interesting ideas and thoughts and feelings and images. But yeah, then, how can we actually harness them to do something different? And I think that's been really, really helpful in terms of clarifying really what I need to prioritize to go forward in a way that will deal with some of that stuff that came up.
I would like to point out that I'm actually a therapist myself, and sometimes therapists also need a therapist. So I was really stuck, and then one day a friend posted a link for Gina's wealth and money attracting short course, and I went, this sounds great, I'm just gonna book it. And I loved it so much. I really had an epiphany on that course, and it was only meant to be a demonstration, and yet it was really it just opened up possibilities that I was stuck before, and now like, ooh, I can use this to unstuck myself. I'm a great believer that when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and you appeared at the right time. That's all there is to it. So, if anybody is watching this video, it means Gina has appeared in your life. So please give it a try.
She walks where the sky meets the sea, a calm in the chaos, wild and free.